So I have a story for you. When I first started at Google, I was the first TPM on a team. There were 25 people. I was also the first woman on the team. And it was a really interesting time. It was just after the IPO, so you can imagine we were growing like crazy. Fast forward about 3 or 4 months, all of a sudden my director pulls me in the room and says, hey, you know, the manager of the team, he's resigned. Just FYI, he was like employee number under 50, so, you know, called in rich, basically. And so he was good, he's resigned, but I want you to be the manager. So I'm like, okay, shock, all the things that, you know, different people are talking about today. And all of a sudden, I was the manager of 24 people, so the largest team I'd ever managed, many of whom were more senior than I was. So what do you think happened? This is a description of my day. 7 a.m., I'm on the phone with like people in Germany trying to get stuff like ordered and turned up. I was on the networking team, by the way, turned up and like trying to make stuff happen. And then like, you know, the day starts happening, and I have one-on-ones, and I have meetings, and I have like staff, and I have like other things, and then I'm like at my desk, and then I keep on going, and you know, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm reviewing resumes. And so months of that, just craziness. We were building, we were growing, everything was happening. What do you think happened? After a few months, after about a year, I was exhausted. What do you do? How do you like recover from something like that? I was absolutely exhausted. And so there's so many lessons to be learned in recovery and trying to figure out like, how am I doing as a manager? And so I have this one cool little tool for you today in thinking about like, how do you actually excel at managing and not burn out, not, you know, get to this place where you're like doing everything and at the same time probably doing absolutely nothing. A little bit about me. Let's see, I grew up in the Bay Area. I went to Cal. I worked at a bunch of different places, Ford, Global Crossing, Google. Now I run my own consulting company called Capriole Consulting, and I do leadership development and coaching of engineering managers. I also have this cute little dog paw because I took 1.5 years off of Google, and I went and started a dog water therapy company. So also on my resume is dog massage therapist and random other stuff like that. But I still work at Google, and I also do this coaching and consulting. I now manage a small team of DevOps engineers, and yeah, I don't know. If you have questions for me, you can catch me at the break. So we're gonna break into this tool that I really used, I didn't really know about when I first started managing people, and especially when landed with a team of 24 people, how do I actually manage them? And so let's take a case in point. One of my engineers was a superstar. He was super experienced, and the pressure of Google was really, it was getting to him. We had an on-call shift. They were getting about 50 to 70 pages a week. It was unsustainable. So you can imagine this person, superstar, really smart, knew his stuff, but at some point was demoralized by this whole like action-packed place that we were in. And so, unfortunately, I didn't do a very good job managing him. I was like, well, come on, you just gotta like, take one for the team and keep on doing this stuff. And I didn't quite know how to actually change my style to be able to actually get him to a place where he could feel good about his job again and be the superstar that he really was. So on the back of your handout, what I want you to do is think about a question. This is why there's pens hopefully available. If anyone needs a pen, maybe you can, I don't know if we can run them to you. Oops. So reflection, what is your management style? Maybe answer these questions. Are you hands-on? Are you hands-off? Do you like to delegate? Do you like things centralized? Do you like making all the decisions, or do you allow others to make decisions? And do you like expectations to be super clear? And like, what else? What else is part of your management style? I'm going to give you a minute. Okay. So maybe like some of you, I'm super hands-off. I really love to delegate. I really love having other people take something and run with it. That's the way I like to be managed. Whoops, sorry. I love getting people involved in decision-making and then really then making the decision and running with tasks. So sometimes that works for people, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm also going to define 2 terms, and these are on your paper. So skills, these are abilities, experience with actually doing something. I don't know, you can think about training, you can think about knowledge that they need to do the job of whatever it is that they are doing. Will, on the other hand, is somebody's willingness to do the task. So the way I like to think about this is motivation. Are they motivated? Do they have other things going on in their life that maybe are affecting them? So it's about attitude. It's also about incentive. So motivations could also be about how much they're being paid. Are they being rewarded well? That kind of thing. And then just like their self-confidence and personal feelings about both job and task. So this is not necessarily a model that you apply to a person, but that you apply to where they are, like in either a project or some kind of place in their work. So on your paper, write down underneath the definition of skill and will, write down a couple of skills that your engineers or the people on your team need, and then write down a couple of things that motivate you on the job. So now, everybody stand up. And so if you wrote down 2 skills that were purely technical, have a seat. Awesome. If you're still standing, shout, like I want to hear a couple of these, so just shout. Communication. Problem solving. Cross-functional work. Okay, adaptability. Networking. Okay, cool, everybody have a seat. So there's a ton of skills that people need that are not just technical skills, and you've got this. There's many different things. And then thinking about like what motivates you as an individual, I'll just tell you a little bit about what motivates me. I'm what's called an intrinsically motivated person. I'm just self-motivated to go and do a good job. And if I'm not intrinsically motivated, it's really hard to motivate me through other means. It's hard to say, oh, but you're going after that promotion, you're going after that raise. I'm like, I don't really care. But, so when I'm burned out, it's really hard to motivate me in that way. But you might need to discover for yourself, for your engineers that work for you, what motivates them. Woo. All right, so I have another skill to teach you. And this is because I'm gonna let you go and talk to your neighbor. And so what happens is when you see me up here and I am raising my hand, then what you do is you also raise your hand and you stop talking. Okay, so let's practice. Turn to your neighbor and start talking. Okay, and you can't keep talking while your hand is raised. Awesome. Cool, thank you. So that's what we're gonna learn how to do next because I have a question for you. We're gonna go through this model. It's called the skill-will model. Imagine skill across I think the bottom of your grid, and will is up and down. So if we start in the top left-hand corner and we talk about people who have low skill but high will, who are they? Interns. Yes, totally interns. Also, like what I call new people on your team, new people on that project, right? They might have plenty of skills to be able to do the job and you have confidence in them, but they don't quite yet know what they're doing or how they're doing it. Okay, so this person is in your mind. All right, so what we're gonna do is stand up and find a partner, and you're gonna discuss how do you manage that person who has high skill high will and low skill. Okay, ready? Stand up. Find a partner. Discuss this question. Awesome, that was great. Have a seat. So, working with your peers, this is a key thing. Key networking here at Calibrate is to talk to people who are around in this conference and ask them questions like this one. How would you manage somebody like that? So hopefully you just got some ideas, or you gave some ideas. But here's what the model says. You can write this in that grid if you want to. Is in this quadrant you need to guide, create a learning environment, actually do some training, some teaching. You might need to also find teachable moments. For me, this is assigning people, brand new people on my team, tiny little bugs that nobody would fix, but hey, it got them in the code and it got them learning how to check stuff in. That was awesome. Giving them frequent feedback on anything, whether it be on communication style, whether it be on technical skills. And then often, how's it going? Checking in with them. So talking about those one-on-ones, you're definitely doing them during this time. We're gonna move on to another quadrant. Bottom left, low will, low skill. This might be me as a manager feeling like that. But just thinking about what do you need to do when you've got somebody who's low will and low skill? And who is this person? So it might be your new person who's suddenly figured out that there's so much to learn. They've been set free in the world to go solve all the world's problems, and they are feeling demotivated, and they don't yet have the skills. It could also be a performance problem in your team, somebody who's not quite fitting in, not quite actually cutting it with their work, and they know it, and they're feeling demotivated. So lots of reasons why somebody could be here in a project or in their life. What do you do? This is the question. Question for me is, what I heard recently from another colleague was, oh yeah, I got this new person and I just let them go free. And they were discovering the world and trying to fix all the problems. And then I finally figured out that they were really getting depressed. And I talked to them, I was like, no, your scope is not this, your scope is that. And it just made all the difference, right? They could actually figure something out. So we're gonna stand up again and find a new person if you can. Ask them the same question, what would you do to manage this person? Awesome, have a seat. So in this quadrant would be my weakness. You need to be directive. You actually need to really get in there and figure out what are they doing, figure out a lot about what's motivating them and not motivating them, but also really work on those low skills. And they're not gonna necessarily be motivated to gain new skills, so you might have to actually get in there. And we talked about intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. That's are you kind of internally motivated or externally motivated? So people might be motivated by praise. They might be motivated by the money. They might be motivated by a whole bunch of things. And then you really have to go and figure out what motivates them. Clear expectations, that's a big one here. So for my management style, it was really hard to actually say, okay, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, I need you to do this, and be very specific. Guess what we're doing next? Another quadrant. So this is high skill, but low will. So who's this person? Everybody's like, burned out. Somebody burned out, like me in the beginning, right? Somebody who's just been on a team for 5 years and they're ready to move on. Somebody who's been working on some grungy project and they just, it's just kind of toil and it's going on and on and on. They want something new and cool to work on. So it could be anybody. So once again, stand up, find somebody, talk to them about how would you manage this person. Very cool, have a seat. You probably just got some really awesome ideas. Here's what this grid says. You need to work on motivating. So whether or not that be a new project, whether or not that be some praise, reward, trying to figure out what would actually motivate them. Last quadrant, this is our high performer, high will, high skill. They are motivated to do the thing, and they're doing it well, and they know how. All right, so you're like, yeah, I don't need to manage them, like hands off, right? No problem, they're awesome, they're taking care of it. No, this is actually a hard one. How do you manage this person? How do you make sure that they stay motivated? How do you actually, you don't want to micromanage them, but what do you do? So let's think about that one. One more time, stand up. That was a good one. That's a good topic for the break, it sounds like. So this is what the model says: empower, delegate at this place. You want to give them freedom in completing their tasks, and you might want to think about how do you involve them in decision making? How do you get them more responsibility? How do you actually have those people really help you lead the team? Asking their opinion is a great one. That is a reward in and of itself, and then other praise and rewards as well. So keeping them motivated, making sure that they have awesome tasks to work on. So why was this one hard? I think especially for me as a new manager, this one was intimidating. That person was better at their job than I was. That person got to go do all these really cool, awesome technical tasks that I don't have time for anymore. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're actually promoting this person, bringing them up in the world, trying to make sure that they are doing an awesome job. So all of these things, that's why this one's hard. In summary, here's the picture. I'll get out of the way if you need it. So in summary, thinking about what I call the platinum rule. The golden rule is when you basically treat other people how you want to be treated. The platinum rule is when you treat others as they need to be treated or they want to be treated. So thinking about where the people that you're managing and working with on this grid, it could be project specific, it could be very much where they are in their life, a little bit of everything, and then really trying to flex and change your style according to what is needed here. Then I'm done.